Hello everyone, today I am super excited to show you 5 different species of Hillstream loaches. Cameron's going to tell us all about them. I personally have only kept reticulated, so I'm very excited to learn more about these, and Cameron knows all about them, so
Oh boy.
let's go take a look. And speaking of that, it looks like we're starting at reticulated.
Why not? They're the first one in the aisle. So this is Soelia linealata. This is, as far as I'm aware, like kind of quote unquote the first one that entered the hobby. This is one, of course, I've also kept. They are gorgeous. They don't get terribly large. They're not terribly feisty. They are seemingly quite easy to breed as long as you have the right setup for them. This is one that's popular. We sell these hand over fist. I presume everybody that has these guys does. They're really cool. I will totally throw out there, do these guys eat algae? No, don't buy them for that. Will they eat algae and graze upon it looking for alphabooks and other microorganisms in it? Yes. They are eating the equivalent of their greens to get bugs on it. Don't wash your lettuce. Is that to say that you won't see little tire tracks, little mouth marks in the algae on your glass? Yes. Do they like to have nice, stable, mature aquariums for them to graze? Yes. Will they also eat bloodworms and daphnia and stuff like that? Hoo boy will they, but please don't do this great fish a disservice by getting them as an algae eater. Ain't gonna work. Strongly disagree with anyone trying that because it's the equivalent of driving your Porsche to the grocery store once a week on Sundays. Enjoy it, use it for what you like it for, and these are awesome. Easy to keep in groups. You'll probably see a few different patterns in here. I presume that the poor souls that catch these guys out of the wild aren't always too invested in sorting them, but these always tend to come in quite right. You'll also see some of these guys on the structure, like the tubes right up front. That's how you catch them. Can you peel them off a wall? I mean, I guess you can try using like a credit card. Good luck. Don't pull them by the tail. They don't like that. Catching these guys can be a pain in the keister. Either put nice stinky food like bloodworms in a net and wait, or you take that decor and very carefully put that over your net, and that is how you catch them. I am reasonably fast at catching these guys in a home aquarium, and that's because I figured out how to go fast. Remember, they're much faster than you are, so you got to have some quickness in that wrist.
All right, so I'm really excited about these guys. What do we have here, or do we even know?
So these were imported as Gastromyzon SPSK02. Someone who purchased some of these recently reached out and let us know that it looks like some of these might have been the quote-unquote Gastromyzon SP Bloody Mary that's been going around, which you can see some of the incredible fluorescent red in the tail on these guys. With both of those being undescribed, I'm totally going to cop to not necessarily knowing the difference. I know the Bloody Mary is redder, but our other batch previously was the SK02s, and they were right. So this is going to be one of those quirks of very in-demand fish. This is definitely one with a higher price tag that gets sent out, but because they're not described yet, it can always be that fun dance of try them out and see what we get. But no matter what they are, these are gorgeous. Incredible color, nice little zebra patterning, and that red. I know it's probably not showing up on all of these, but incredible red on these guys. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Big boy right there. Incredible fish, and in terms of what we've seen, these have been very, very hardy. Nothing that I've seen out of these guys to see them as different to care for than, say, your average assorted Borneo sucker, so to speak, even if these guys are quite a bit fancier. Really, really neat fish. If I had a smaller Hillstream, I probably would have snaffled some of these guys up, but no space right now. Very, very cool loach, and we've been absolutely spoiled as of late with a lot of guys in that category of being new and bizarre, and something for all of us to enjoy as we learn more about these interesting species.
So let me ask you, and give me an excuse to look at these fish some more.
Of course.
Usually when you look up online about Hillstreams, people say cool water, lots of oxygen, and lots of flow. Do you find all of that or any of that necessary?
I would say it depends a little bit on stocking levels, because some fish, in my experience, that come from faster flowing environments do really relish the flow. And this is not for me to say what can you get away without, although truthfully it is. I would say in a perfect world, these would be in a biotope. A lot of flow, a lot of oxygenation. A lot of my Hillstream tanks at home have a plethora of sponge filters, sometimes a canister or hang-on back, and sometimes a power stone, or a power head, or an air stone, just because. So long as you keep things clean and have, I think that sometimes the flow from a hang-on back, they seem to appreciate more than, say, the bubbles from a sponge filter. I have kept some Hillstreams in kind of more of a normal community tank, so to speak, but I did make sure to keep them stringently clean. These animals, if they are going to show you that they're not loving the water quality, might be a little bit further along in terms of not doing great than you'd want, maybe showing red, maybe showing signs of disease. It's definitely not a fish that I would ever recommend saying that you could get lazy with. As you can see, we have a power head in here. We do have flow from a sponge filter, so it doesn't always have to be rushing past them. You don't have to exactly recreate that wild biotope, but at the very least, make sure to have a lot of those factors in place, because otherwise you could lose some very, very wonderful animals.
All right, what are these guys?
These are Assorted Borneo sucker loaches. Gastromyzon, if I'm remembering rightly, the whole genus comes from Indonesia. I think it might in particular be Borneo, not positive on that one. I will totally cop to it not being as aware of some of the Hillstream loach guys, or at least some of these fellows, some of my other loaches that I have kept more. You can definitely see a lot of different patterns in here. These are going to be different species, and sometimes you'll see batches of Assorted Borneo suckers labeled as one species, typically Stellatus or Scitulus or Zabrinus. We do try to keep it honest, and although some of them have come in still a little mixed, if we do get some of those like Zabrinus or Scitulus, we do try to make sure that they are labeled properly. If it comes in like this, we tend to leave them as SP Assorted. All of these are going to be quite, I would say, easy to care for, so long as previously mentioned, their water's clean, they have some flow. I think there's been a little bit of luck breeding these in captivity. They're certainly not as rabbit-like as Suelia in that regard, but tend to be fairly unproblematic. A lot of these guys will get some really nice iridescence to them that they'll display as adults. And if you're asking yourself, well, why don't you just sort them out? Not to be rude, but maybe you want to come out here and catch them, because hoo boy, I pity anyone that would have to catch a lot of these guys in nature. And I'll be honest with you, in the past when I have tried to separate them out for myself, there's been times where I gave up, flung my net down and said, yep, we got what we got. You're coming home with me, boys. I'm not going to separate you out any further. They're just as tricky to catch as other Hillstream loaches, but no less lovely.
All right, which are these ones?
This is Hypergastromyzon abditus, or abditus. I don't know how to say it. This is, if I'm remembering rightly, a fairly recently described species in like 2019 or so. Abditus, I believe, means like chameleon-like or concealed, because I believe this is a cryptic one. There's a couple similar-looking species. I can't admit that I've ever kept Hypergastromyzon, so in terms of how these might differ from, say, a typical Gastromyzon, I'm not sure. What I have had experience with is keeping them here, and at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I really haven't seen all that much of a difference. Hypergastromyzon tend to be really flat. I know that we're seeing them on the back, kind of seeing the wrong view for these, but they're almost flounder-like. I've heard that comparison for, say, Suelias, but these seem to be even more compressed. Very, very interesting fish. I do like these guys a lot. This is a new species for us. We've never had these in stock, so I've been grateful that I've had a chance to familiarize myself a little bit, because these have done very well, and I think that, I don't know, it's just kind of that lizard-like darting and those weird eye placement, that flat body that I think really appeals to me. I like some of the wilder ones. We don't have any in stock, but like Gastromyzon, say from China, that have that still yet more unusual body type on a group of fish that are already pretty far out.
Yeah, these guys are really pretty.
I think maximum size is about 2 inches, 2.5 maybe, so not really out of the ordinary there either.
All right, here's a really cool one. What do we got here?
These are, I have not really had a chance to stare at these. They're brand spanking new. Appear to be mostly Homolopteroides smithi, the green gecko loach. Am I going to say that I'm way worse at Hillstream loaches than your average ones in terms of telling them apart? Yeah. Do they look like they're probably smithi, which has a huge distribution? To me, for the most part, there's always a few in here that look strange, contaminants of some sort. These, I would argue, are one of the easier Hillstream loaches that are going to be kind of this body type to keep. They do seem to be a lot more adaptable. They don't seem to be as needy in regards to water chemistry, although of course they're still a Hillstream fish. Keep them clean. Very interesting patterns on these guys, and they also tend to be pretty bold in my experience. In the storefront, these guys would be out all the time on the glass, on the sides, on wood, just bopping around wherever they could. Really interesting fish, and the pattern seemingly can change at will on these guys. Not like they're gonna just pale out, but in terms of what you might see can change from second to second almost.
All right, folks, there you go. 5 species of Hillstream loaches. Thank you so much, Cameron, for all the information. We appreciate it. Don't forget to check out wetspotTropicalFish.com. Use code Steenfott10 for 10% off, and we'll see you on the next one.